What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Games Live right here on either twitch.tv or on YouTube. Gotta say, what's up to JD in Twitch chat, getting it out of the way. Usually that happens in the pre-show, but JD just popping in. What's up, JD? How's it going to you and everyone in Twitch chat right now? I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey!
Soapy, day 2 of the laptop. Well, not day 2 of the laptop, but day 2 of the laptop on the show. How you feeling with it? You jiving with it? Are you becoming one with the machine?
I don't know if one with the machine's the correct term there. Still getting used to how MacBooks are weird.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit to get used to. It does.
I mean, hey, slowly the content's going to be coming.
Yeah, you told me you were working on it today.
Yeah.
You told me you were working on it.
That's the only thing that kept me from going into a deep thought, so...
That's good. Anything to keep you from going into deep thought. Also, if you guys see me looking up yonder, fucked around with my lights a little bit, and I don't know how I feel about them. Like the brightness of them, because how they work, for those of you who don't know, is they have rows of white lights and then rows of yellow lights. And you can like change the dimness, and I think I either have them too close to mine, because I feel like this side, when I put up my hand, like that is bright. But yet again, could just be my my monitor in general. Let's see if I turn that monitor off, if that changes anything. No, it doesn't. So it's not my monitor at all. So I'm going to be fidgety about my lights today, because I'm an anal person, and I want everything to be perfect for you guys and the show. But Soapy and I are back like we always are, talking about gaming news, gaming topics. And today, because yesterday we had a deep thought day on Friday, so that means Mold Breaker Monday got moved over. That means we got a trend-setting Tuesday today, where it's just one topic. Soapy and I kind of dive into it, kind of explore it. We take Twitch chat, whatever people are saying as well, and kind of bring in points that we seem fit. But today we're talking about bugs and Cyberpunk, and kind of, do we rush out games? Is it our fault in a way? With some games that come out that are buggy. Before we get into everything though, quick housekeeping. Number one, make sure to join the best community on the internet if you have not already. That Discord link is down below in the description, or Soapy with exclamation Discord put it into Twitch chat for you. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you do that. Again, on YouTube, link is down below. Or you can click the link in Twitch chat, or put exclamation Patreon like Soapy just did to get that link at any time in Twitch chat. We're always on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids, Monday through Friday. And then we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment for the gaming, entertainment, wrestling side. That's the YouTube channel, so go ahead and find the yellow MVP logo. MVP Entertainment will get you there. But Soapy, let's get into the topic today. I have my tablet up, but I don't even know why I need it. First, let's talk about the Cyberpunk issues that are going on, that there are bugs and criticisms with it. Because I've been trying to do a Zero Dark 30 with it, where I haven't watched my Dr. Disrespect in a while because he's been playing Cyberpunk, and I am a type of person that I want to experience that firsthand. Haven't watched any footage on it. I know you have watched footage on it, so you kind of have a first-person account to the criticisms. I'll let you kind of take this away. What is going on with Cyberpunk, and what bugs are the major criticisms for people so early on into the game?
All right, so for more of like the PC side, which is more of the refined side of Cyberpunk,
yeah,
like there's frequent crashes happening. There are a lot of graphical errors. It's one of those things that like NPCs just aren't working at times. Like, for instance, like the video that I was talking to you about before, where it was Ricky Berwick playing, and he was talking to the person in the wheelchair.
Yeah,
it was when he punched the person, they just levitated out of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
but and stuff like that is happening on PC, and it happens pretty frequently. Like some people are just T-posing, some people are like some people's games are just crashing a crap ton.
That
For console,
that is the one I saw that I want to say. The only thing I saw was someone opened up. It was like a little 30-second thing of like him on a train for a cinematic. It looks out at the city that looks like it was on a PS1, and then boom, the game crashed.
yeah, it's so for PC, like they're experiencing just kind of like minor stuff. Consoles where we're seeing a lot of the problems, especially with like Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
That game is so poorly optimized for those consoles that it is running like garbage. It looks like a PS2 game. Uh, Night City feels like it's a dead city.
Yeah.
Because there's like nobody in it besides the main character and like one NPC that walks around. And obviously they're experiencing all the issues that PC is experiencing, but on a much larger scale because since it is not optimized at all for that console, those are the main issues that are going on with it right now.
So the thing that let's talk about Cyberpunk first is with them there was even a little bit of I'm gonna call them rumors because we don't really know. There are some rumblings that CD Projekt Red even wanted to delay the game even further. It got delayed from November to December. And then there's been rumors that they were like, hey, you know what? Like, we might have to just delay this thing into next year. And then because of that, we'll just make it a PS5 and Xbox Series S game with computer, obviously. And kind of eliminate the current gen because there were conversations that, hey, this game might be buggy on the last gen going into the new gen because obviously they had to kind of deal with both. And that's what kind of like for Cyberpunk, did we as the fans or the investors, because I know you've brought that up in our private conversation, Soapy, that it might have been investors that are like, no, we need to see the recoup on our investment to this game before people don't want to buy it anymore because it's been delayed so many times within the last 2 years. Basically, with Cyberpunk, is it our fault that it's so buggy that we haven't let CD Projekt Red kind of do their due diligence, knowing that there's a pandemic that also leads into delays? Or is this something where it's like, hey, you know what? CD Projekt Red should have had this ready to go sooner, and it's on their fault why it's so buggy.
I think it falls on both sides. It's one of those things that Cyberpunk is such a vast game, and there's so much trying to be packed into it that you're going to miss details. That's something that, this is also just something I just genuinely bring up.
Yeah.
Understand, everybody, that the gaming world today, there is no bug-free game. Every game has bugs. Understand, every game is going to launch with bugs. Unless if that game is made by one person and it's like a fucking indie game and it's the size of like 1 gigabyte, that is the only time you're not going to see bugs. 2, don't judge a game extremely harshly due to day one. I would say wait for a couple patches to come out. Let that happen because Witcher 3 was a buggy fucking mess when it came out. And Witcher 3 is one of the best games of all time now. So, give it some time. But the reason I say it falls on both sides is CD Projekt Red has had since 2018 to work on this stuff. And it's pretty telling that it is still this buggy, especially with it basically being like almost 3 years since we heard about it. I think it's something where now this is showing more of the CD Projekt Red may, like earlier in the dev cycle, they may be taking too much time to do certain things, which I know sounds weird. Of like, oh, they may be hyper focusing on one thing and then just kind of toss everything off to the wayside for when they crunch. Then they could be like, oh, okay, cool. When you guys are working 100 hours a week, now time to focus on this. Stuff like that, I think, is where CD Projekt Red did fail. But I think it's, once again, it's fans constantly shit talking CD Projekt Red. It's investors threatening to take money out or like to withdraw their investment from the game that people need to realize. Games to the scale of Cyberpunk games to the scale of like what Witcher 3 was, games that are not like ambitious, but like they're rather large titles.
They want to push the boundaries of what gaming is, basically.
Yeah. It's basically you need to let a company have its time. Yes, I get it. You invested your money possibly 2 years ago and you're waiting for that return.
Yeah.
Once again, it's like the stock market. After 2 years in the stock market, do you just take all your stocks and go home? No.
Yeah.
You have it build up over time. It's one of those things that's basically what this is. It annoys me that there were rumors that investors were like, no, we're going to start withdrawing our money if you don't release this fucking game. Because it's like, okay, who the fuck's investing in a game for just 2 years? Because when games like Star Citizen were coming out, people invested in the game like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't do a single damn thing about it. Granted, that game also didn't give a definitive launch date. They were just like, hey, when we get it fucking done, we're getting it done. But I think it falls on the fault of both, but I think it does lean more towards like the fans.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and I was thinking about this today, of going off what you just said, it kind of falls more on the fans. It's kind of the balance that you have to play if you're a game developer of hype versus expectation, where obviously you want your fan base, you want the base that is going to be playing your game to be hyped about your game, and you have to control this kind of hype cycle where it's like, okay, this game is not coming out for 2 years, but we want people to get hyped about it. That is good because, yet again, when it comes out, people will be hyped and they're building hype for it. But yet again, if you build this hype with fans, as I even said yesterday when we talked about the Game Awards stuff, fan stands for fanatic. We are not, as fans, supposed to think rationally. We should, but we don't. And that's where fans kind of get in the, well, hey, you know what? This was promised now, and I want it now, and I don't want to wait longer. Fuck this game. I ain't going to play it if it's delayed any further. And if you're one of those people, I kind of have the mindset of like, you got what you're asked for kind of a thing. Where, I mean, with Cyberpunk's a very different situation. Cyberpunk, Halo, all the games we've seen delayed in 2020, like even Shadowlands for a little bit for World of Warcraft. This has been a unique situation because of the pandemic. Now, I know World of Warcraft they wanted to get the end game right, so they took about, a couple weeks to do that. But like Halo, for example, they were supposed to be a launch title. They said, no, we're gonna get that game basically almost a year later because of challenges we had during the pandemic, where Cyberpunk, yeah, I know it's been going on for 2 years. It's been in development since 2018, but this is something where I feel like, did the pandemic play into it being, first off, delayed the first time, and then now second off, being delayed the second time, because there's a challenge you face as a developer when you're in the middle of two generations of consoles. Because for me, this is the first time I have been on a current or a last gen while the first one has come out. I've always had the newest console. I know that I've been very thankful for that in my life, mainly because of my aunt and how great she was through my childhood, where it was basically she was like a superwoman out there. I don't know how she got these games. I don't know if she was studying black magic or fucking had to go through the dark web or anything, but like, it was Christmas. I fucking got the game system. It just magically appeared under my Christmas tree. So I don't know how she did it, but I was luckily in that camp. This is the first time I'm not, to where it's like, this is the first time I'm experiencing the side of, well, do I wait to play a game? Do I not? Because Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I want to play it, but I want to play it at its best. Miles Morales, I want to play it, but yet again, I want to play it at its best. And that, to me, I feel like is where fans should fall. We should want to play games at their best. If you think Cyberpunk needs a little bit more time to be worked on and refined, yeah, it sucks that it's going to get delayed, but shouldn't you be okay with that? Because at the end of the rainbow, at the end of that time, it should be a better product than what it's going to be if you got it exactly when they wanted to give it to you, or exactly when they said they were going to give it to you, whether it's ready or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's thinking about it rationally, and it's one of those things people don't think rational in today's
Fans
world.
don't think rationally. You're right. That's what I just said.
It's basically a. If you told me if I'm supposed to have it by this time, I want it by this time. I don't care if it's buggy.
Yeah.
But then if it comes to me buggy, I'll bitch about it all the time. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, it does also fall on CD Projekt Red. You don't get 2 years to develop a game, and it's still this shitty.
Yeah.
At launch, like, it is something that obviously it's optimized for PC. Like, it has problems there, but like it still plays it relatively well enough.
Yeah.
Of where it's like you were working with last gen hardware. Why does this game not seem like it was prepared for this at all? That's what makes me wonder. Of like, were they working with PS5 and Xbox Series X stuff way before anyone else was? Because like, it doesn't seem like at all that they planned for this to be on last gen.
You're talking about on the PS4 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it was meant for this gen. But it was announced not like in the middle of this gen, or at least like we had an idea that like, hey, at some point CD Projekt Red is going to work on a Cyberpunk game. Like, we knew that like way before the first like hour-long trailer came out.
Yeah.
When the hour-long trailer came out, like, okay, that's in the middle of like, or not in the middle, but it's still kind of like tail end. But like by that point, like the Xbox One X and like PS4 Pro, I don't think it came out yet. To where it's like, okay, like this is still kind of like the middle of the life cycle a little bit. Like, this is like the rejuvenation until like the final edition comes out, aka the next gen. And we had seen it on there, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. And then we see what it looks like now, and it's like, did we just get duped this whole time? And Cyberpunk should have been showing us that we were looking at what the next gen console looks like. Because what we saw in that trailer is what the PC version looks like. Obviously, you know, a little different because it's still, you know, it's more refined now.
Yeah.
But like, they look damn near identical.
I mean, the earliest that I heard about Cyberpunk was, and I'm even looking for, like, when Dave, Mark, and I used to do Too Old to Game, we obviously had a reaction to it Dave and I did at E3, what was that, E3 2019, because that was when the whole Keanu Reeves came out, and they said, like, he's going to be in the game. Or actually, no, scratch that. That was the last time we talked about it, because I forgot our playlist is in reverse. Before that, I think we made that a title card. There was, I'm trying to think of the exact date, but there was a time where Cyberpunk came out with, like, here's an hour and a half, or here's 40 minutes or something of gameplay, where it was like, here's the first 40 minutes or hour and a half of the story. And I remember we talked about that on Too Old to Game. I just don't remember exactly what date that was. I'm trying to find that out.
That was like 2017, 2018.
Was it? It had to be 28. It couldn't have been 2017, because I know we talked about it when it came out. I'm gonna try to find it really quickly while you kind of give some more thoughts off of what I was saying or trying to say. With, like, was it, like, were they on the current gen, now current gen, and they're like, well, no, it's not going to come out for last gen, and then when did they make the decision of, like, oh shit, I guess we're going to have to release it on this gen as well?
Yeah. That's the weird thing. I feel like it was whenever they first. Oh, by the way, it was 2 years ago.
So it was 2018.
20.
Okay.
Yeah. But I feel like it's something of, like, at the time, they may have known. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if game companies knew, like, Xbox and PlayStation were getting ready to move on to the next gen. Because, you know, the consoles had been out for like 7+ years by this point.
That was August 27th, and it was a about 50 minute walkthrough.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those things that they knew next gen was coming, and they may have honestly, I think it was one of those things. They may have thought the game would come out earlier.
Yeah.
Because obviously, we were expected the early 2020 release,
Mm-hmm.
which would have put it right at the end of the life cycle for the first one. Which, can I just point out?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how fucking bad we would view Cyberpunk as now
Mm-hmm.
if it launched on the original date.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the way that the way it looks like it was built, it looks like halfway through development they were just like, fuck it, dude, we don't care about last gen. Oh, dude, maybe CD Projekt Red and me have the same mindset of hey, once the next gen comes out, just fuck last gen. Maybe me and CD Projekt Red got the same mindset going on here.
I think they should have had that mindset of, if it was me and CD Projekt Red, yet again, coming up with this game in 2018 is a little bit different. Of the fact of did they know? Did they have an insider tip to hey, we are gonna get the PS5 and the Xbox Series S in the next 2 years? Or was it they were like us, hey, it's all speculation at that point? That's number one. Did they know that it was coming sooner rather than later? Because if it's me and I'm thinking, okay, in the next 2 years, we're going to have next gen, I would almost think, if I'm CD Projekt Red, fuck it, let's just market this as a next gen game. Let's just market it as a next gen game, go all in on the next gen, and then basically we don't have to split our time between current gen and next gen. We could just try to make it the best game that it can be for the next gen of consoles.
Yeah, and I think that's what they should have done. I think once they did the first delay, I think they should have been like, hey, listen, it sucks to suck, but we're gonna refund everyone who pre-ordered the the last gen version. That's what they should have done. Was refund those people. And then honestly, once you see that hey, when the PlayStation Xbox came out and that no one can get their fucking hands on it, tell them hey, listen, you're still waiting for your launch until more people get your console. Otherwise, for right now, PC exclusive. Because the game basically runs just fine on there. Just focus all your time.
Yeah, but
patch that one up.
Here's the other thing too of there are some people, for me, I'm someone where it's fine, I guess I could play it on computer. But then there's two other camps. There's the camp of, well, I don't have a computer that is good enough to play games like that. That's why I have my PlayStation. Or two, and this is kind of the stubborn side of no, I play my games on PlayStation. I don't PC game. That's the thing with that side, to where it's I get what you're saying, but there would be people that are well, that's not what I fucking paid for, because I don't want to play it on PC. I want to play it on my console.
And then I have to tell those people, get the fucking pacifier out of your mouth, you big goddamn baby.
Well, I mean, there
get
are
over it.
That's one where I can't be the get over it, because PC gaming to me is an acquired taste, to where I kind of fall into that category where I don't like PC gaming. It's just not something that the only thing I play on PC is World of Warcraft, and that's not is that really fucking PC gaming? You know what I'm saying? To where it's it's not me doing a lot with mouse and keyboard, but I can't play it for and especially Cyberpunk. I can't do a fucking first person shooter with mouse and keyboard. I can't. My coordination's not like that. And I know you say, oh, just plug a controller into your computer, but okay, let's say I'm a PlayStation person. I have to now experience the game lesser because you say that my controller doesn't work optimally with a PC. So now my gameplay is even more hindered because I have to now buy a controller like Xbox or something that works with my computer. That's the fishy thing you get in with the PC thing. But I do understand what you're saying of trying to make someone happy of hey, you can at least play it now if you want to.
Yeah. I mean, and then even at that, with my point, I'm not saying oh, never release it for console. I'm saying wait until more people have the Xbox Series X or S and the PS5, and then release it.
At the same,
I think that's
at the same time though, I wouldn't pre-order a game for PS5 unless I had a fucking PS5. Let's be honest with you.
I'm also not saying pre-order it though.
No. I'm just saying,
People can.
why would you? Then that's the thing. Why would you buy a game for a system you don't have yet? That kind of squashes this whole debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, people shouldn't be in that category because it's like, why would you buy a PS5 game when you don't even have the PS5 yet?
Well, I'm also not saying those people need to pre-order the game. It's what you do is once there are more people who have it, then you set the new release date of like, hey, listen, this is when it's available on next gen.
Okay.
That's what you do. If you pre-order a game for a gen console that you don't even have, I'm sorry, your IQ is actually below legal standard of me being able to call you a certain word I won't say on stream.
So you're saying have the PC version come out before the console version?
Yes.
Okay. See, that's a different story, because the way I was thinking it is, hey, we have them both come out at the same time, but if you pre-ordered a console version and don't have the PS5, then we're going to do this. The way you're talking about it's totally reasonable, where if I'm a console player, then it's like, okay, like, it sucks, the PS5 version's coming out later, but I guess that's how it is. Like, that's how I would look at it. If they came out the same time and you pre-ordered it thinking like, hey, I'm going to have a PS5 by that time, that's where I thought we were coming from. So just a little mixture in communication there. But what you're saying, have the PS5 version come out before, or I'm sorry, the PC version come out before, that I have no problem with them, because obviously I'm not going to buy a game for a console I don't have yet.
Yeah, and then obviously you use the PC version not so much as like a guinea pig, but you figure out like, okay, what problems were there from the start? Obviously, you already have the basis for the console version.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you just refine that, make sure you look for those same problems around the PC one, so that you have a relatively smooth console launch.
Yeah.
That's what you use this opportunity as. Where obviously you don't want to just release it for next gen like right away of when like no one has the console. Because it's one of those things that hurts the sales of the game more than people would expect.
Yeah, no, I get you. I guess the other thing that I kind of think about in my head is there any way to fix this in the future? Is there a way for us to get past the whole, like, is there a perfect way to hype up your game, get people excited about it, but have it to where you don't run into these problems? Or is it just something to where it's like game companies have to kind of have a I say have a backbone, but yet again, if investors are pushing and they're willing to like pull their what they're providing you, that's a tough decision to make. But like, there's a part of me that's like, do developers like CD Projekt Red have to have a backbone and say like, hey, this sucks, but this is what it's got to be. We're doing this for the benefit of you, than the benefit of us. Kind of like the whole debate of like, when it's like, oh, this bigger body is like, you can't make the decision for yourself, so we're going to make it for you. Kind of that, where it's like, yes, I know you want to play the game, but if we do what you want, it's going to be a buggy mess. No, we're just going to delay it again. And just however you feel, we're going to take the repercussions of that.
Yeah, and I mean, and obviously that's a probability. I think the way that we can fix this is stop putting a definitive fucking release date on games. Tell people like, listen, we estimate it may. You got to use fucking keywords. You can't say, oh, it's coming out like 2021, because then if it's not, then you're gonna have the people like, oh, now I'm starting to get worried. It ain't coming out this year.
See,
I'm getting
like,
spooked.
I wouldn't mind the whole like, oh, coming out fall, like the trailers where it's like fall 2021. Because like, to me, when I see fall 2021, it's like, all right, that's where the target is. The problem comes in when you exactly go like, we see the trailer and then it's like, bam, August 25th, 2021. Like, when you lock in an exact date to me, that's me. Like, that's telling me that you're like, okay, we're hitching our wagon to this horse. Where the the fall 2021 is like, okay, we'll see if it comes out that time. But yet again, that's how I think of things. I know everyone doesn't think of them the same way.
Yeah, because I mean, there's people that if they were like, oh, fall 2021, and then the game, like, they're like, oh, actually, we can't do that. There's still going to be people like, wow, you guys gave yourself a 3-month window and still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, this game's obviously going to be a shitty mess when it comes out. And it's like, it almost seems like, and this is something that's more or less just directed to people that when they hear about delays, that they start worrying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like when games get delayed, it's probably because the devs know it's bad and they're working on it. Like, the devs don't just sit there and be like, fuck it, we don't want to release that thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not just like sitting at their desk, like thick, like feet kicked up on the desk, just leaning back in the chair, being like, "Dude, I don't want to fucking send that."
Don't you love all this money that we're swimming in? Scrooge McDuck would be proud.
It's like, dude, don't you just love all this money that we're not making because we don't make this money until the game comes out?
Yeah,
man, this is real. This is some fucking absolute fun we're having. Like that's the thing of where. I think it's also we need to change the stigma around like the idea of delaying games in general. Over like when we hear delay, we hear like, oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
But like for instance, it may be like, oh, hey, we're gonna push this game back 2 months because we found a bug that is maybe not like game breaking, but like it happens all the time, and we didn't notice it until we started having play testing.
Yeah.
Where obviously it's one of those things that also I think that. Don't send reviewers a copy of the game that's like months out of date.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, like, because we started getting the rumors of Cyberpunk's a super buggy fucking mess from reviewers.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they're like, oh, expect this to be the day one game. And it's like, the other half of the reviewers are like, hey, we played without a day one patch.
Yeah.
And they're like, and this game played just fine without it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of those things that I think that's the other thing of everyone should play on what the game's going to be like day one, not on a version of the game that's not going to have what's present day one.
Well, and that's the thing. You even see in like some gameplay trailers where it's like you'll see the disclaimer at the bottom of like, hey, this was not fucking shot on something realistic. We just want to make it look really good so that you guys are hyped about the game. Basically what I see from some of them is that's what I read. That's not exactly what it says, but that's what I read of like, hey, this was not shot on an actual, like, there are some of them that's like, hey, actual PS5 version. Like, actual PS5 vision here that you're seeing. And that's why I liked the PS4 Pro, PS5 trailer. That's another thing, too. Like, if you have a PS4 and not a PS4 Pro, don't expect it to look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I got this PS4 Pro. I think it was, Spider-Man came out in 2017? So it's been 3 years now that I've had it. I remember when I booted up Spider-Man for the first time on it, and I was like, holy shit, are these great. Like, it was almost like a full jump in between for the PS4 to the PS5.
Yeah, and it's mostly because, with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, like, they're meant to be that jump.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where obviously, I know the counter argument to your point is like, for instance, games like Red Dead that were beautiful anyways ran perfectly fine on like the base PS4 and Xbox.
Yeah. Like, but yet again, like looking back at Red Dead, besides it being beautiful on both of them, like when there's the difference though between PS4 Pro and PS, like, yes, it looked beautiful, but it didn't look so much better to where it's like, wow, this other version looks like crap. It's like, oh, I can tell the differences, but a PS4 still is fine. Now you're seeing the difference between if the gap from PS4 Pro, and I'm using PS because that's what I am, a PS4 Pro and a PlayStation 5 is a huge jump in itself. That means the jump from a base PS4 to a PS5 is going to be so much bigger. So it's like, it's going to be even looking more shitty in comparison to the next gen because of how much of a leap the next gen is from the middle gen.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that obviously it's from the hour-long trailer, you could tell that thing was on you can tell that was on PC. Like, that was a PC trailer.
Yeah. And JD corrected me. It wasn't 2017, 2018. So I've only had it 2 years. Whoops.
Okay.
2 years, not 3 years. The years all come together. What was the exact date on that Spider-Man game? Come on, give me a date. Give me a date. Give me a date. It was September 7th of 2018. So yeah, fall of 2018 is when I got this PS4 Pro. So damn, me and her only got 2 years of good usage before I go ahead and get my PS5.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that when people see like the gameplay that they put out for when like, because we also kind of saw what they showed the game, like what graphics for PS4 would look like. Over like, oh, does it look the best? No, like it still looks solid, and that's not the part that's fully all the way off. Of like, it still looks like relatively okay. Like obviously, like is it fucking earth shattering like we saw in the trailer when it jumped from PS4 to PS5? No. But like it still looks good. I think it's more or less of just that trailer may have been more of like a work in progress type of trailer for the PS or for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Mostly because the fact that, Night City looked lived in, unlike how it looks now for the PlayStation. But I think it's one of those things that there were like the fact that people are expecting the PS4 version to look like the PC version is a little dumb because I hate to break it to people. I really do, and by I really do I mean I really don't.
Yeah. Do you think
console?
Go ahead, finish, and then I had one last.
No, I was going to say, PS4 has fallen so far behind PC that a middle of the road PC equals what a PS4 is. Like that's what it is. Of expecting a PS4 version to look like what the PC version would look like is asinine. Yeah. That is setting your expectations so high for 7-year-old hardware.
Yeah. You're talking about a base PS4, right?
I mean, even PS4 Pro.
Okay.
Like, Pro is still equal to, like, a not high-end PC. And even that high-end PCs also aren't even that expensive either.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying with the whole PC thing, but, like, there are people, like, even JD in Twitch chat was like, he said, that's me. I can't justify building an expensive PC.
Dude, we're going to have this as a mold breaker Monday. PCs are not that expensive to build.
I mean...
They're really not. If you build them by hand, they're not that expensive.
I mean, the iBuy Power that I have was like $1,000, but like I didn't build it; it was pre-built to where it was like, hey, does it have everything that I need to play World of Warcraft? Yeah, and then shit changed in Shadowlands, and now it's a fucking half the time it bricks my computer. Don't know how fucking WoW could do that. But yeah, I mean, the last thing I was gonna kind of ask is like. Halo's the next big one that we've seen a delay with. Far Cry has also been delayed. We kind of got where we may be getting those. And like, there is a part of me, I know this is longer down the line, is will Halo Infinite fall into the same issue of will they have to decide, looking into your crystal ball, will they have to decide at 343? The same thing of like, shit, we said late 2021. This game ain't ready yet. Are they like, would you put the faith in 343 to push that Halo game back again if they have to? Or could we see the same thing where it's like, fuck it, we got to put it out by December, and then it comes out and it's a buggy mess?
I mean, I think it mostly depends. Where obviously, I feel like Halo Infinite was close to being done before. It's more or less of like there may have been just a lot of bugs they didn't expect. Especially now, they probably are like, oh shit, we have to actually like it may not have been optimized for Xbox the same way they thought it would have been.
Yeah.
Or hell, who knows? There's people that have. Like a situation where like maybe now they're just optimizing it for PC because maybe they're not used to launching Halo on PC.
Yeah,
I mean, hell, that's still a thing that like I forget about that you can play Halo on PC now. I always forget that, and something of doing stuff like that. Maybe that's what made them delay it. Like obviously, we saw like some of the graphical errors they had during when they first showed Halo Infinite. of where the Brute looked like a BS2 character.
Yeah.
Obviously,
that was at the show. That was at the showcase that you and I watched for our pre-show, right? For the the trial run, I should say.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, like, that wouldn't push it back so much. I think it's more or less of just, at this point, it's optimizing, making sure that, like, as many of the bugs as possible are ironed out. Or hell, maybe they were like, fuck it, we're going to add another thing since we're already going to delay it.
Yeah.
We're going to need all this time to put it in.
Mm-hmm. No, good point. Any final thoughts? Because I'm kind of all spent on this. I got nothing else that I need to say. I think that the main thing is that comes into this is if you're a developer, you got to balance the hype to expectation kind of balance that's going to be out there. And like, the more you get the game hyped, the more that when you need to delay it, fans are going to get upset. And then if you release it when they want, they're going to get really upset at bugs. So like, really, developers, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah. And especially because it's one of the things you get put in such a hard spot of, for instance, like, if you're not even the company who's publishing your game,
yeah,
like, you then also have your publisher being like, no, you are putting this game out at this time. We don't care what the reception of it is. You know, and obviously, like, that's, for instance, what happens with games like Destiny. That's what happens with games that fall under the EA banner.
Yeah.
Like, you get a certain amount of time, and they're like, listen, we don't care what the game is like when we ask you to put it out. You're putting it out.
Yeah. No, good point. But yeah, that's going to do it for us here on Trend Setting Tuesday. Make sure to, if you're on YouTube, let us know what you guys think down below. Obviously, I also want to apologize, as it seemed like I was spaced through this whole episode. These lights are bugging with me. Only because, like, you might have seen me, like, go to scratch my head just to see how it looks. Look at how fucking bright my arm is, Soapy. It is a fucking pasty fucking arm. Like, it's not supposed to be like that. So I'm going to have to fuck with my lights in between Games Live and Sports Live because I've been tweaking out about it the whole show. But let us know what you guys think down below. Let us know what you guys think in Twitch chat as well while we're taking the break in between shows. Remember, join the Discord if you haven't already. Discord link down below, or can be put into Twitch chat by doing !Discord. Patreon, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. Link down below if you're on YouTube, or ! Patreon into Twitch chat in order to get that link. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids, but we are also on YouTube as well at MVP Entertainment. So go ahead, follow, sub, do all that stuff at both places so you're always tapped to the MVP vein. Dave and I are going to be coming up next with Sports Live. I'm going to fuck around with my lights a little bit, so it's going to take a little bit of time. We're also going to have a special guest on the show, so stay tuned for the special guest. That's going to do it, though, for MVP Games Live today. As always, thank you for what you guys do, and have a good day, everybody.